Welcome back to the Boundary Corner Podcast. My name is Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler. Buddy, big night. Big night.
Big night for the Boundary Corner Podcast. We are going live tonight, streaming. And tonight, folks, we have Hokies legend and current assistant defensive line coach for my San Francisco 49ers, Darryl Tapp, is going to be joining us. And, man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, this is big. Everyone that's been watching the podcast, they know how we feel about D-Tap. So, big to have him on. Let's go ahead and bring him in here.
Yes, sir.
D-Tap, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, fellas. How y'all be?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Thanks for joining us.
Living the dream.
No doubt, man. Anytime.
Nice 90-degree day here in the RVA in Virginia. How's it out there on the West Coast tonight?
It's nice. It's not even nighttime. It's 3 o'clock out here.
Man, I'm already messing up. Look at that. Forgot you over 3 o'clock. You got to take an afternoon nap after you wrap up with us today?
No doubt. Do that. Watch these basketball games, and I'm good.
There we go. There we go.
Heck yeah, man.
So, D-Tap, let's start it off this way. How's the move been for you?
It's been good. It's been really good. The wife and I are transitioning out here to get locked and loaded for this upcoming season. But the organization has been awesome. Like, it's been very helpful for us getting the setup and trying to move our stuff and cars shipped and the whole nine. And it's allowing me to come in here and focus on learning from these coaches and getting ourselves prepared for this season.
All right, Brian, I'm going to take over the next few questions, man, because I got to ask it.
Close to the heart. I get it.
It's close to my heart, man. Dude, as I said, I'm a Niners fan. Now, you're coming into a situation on that defensive line. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, got Sampson, picked him up in free agency. How are you feeling about the room so far? I'm
excited. We have an all-veteran room. Like, we don't have any rookies. We don't have any at Tech I called them puppies because the guys just coming in trying to learn. We don't have any of those. Everybody in our room, we're 15 deep, I believe, full of guys that have played ball in this league. So these guys are coming with a different mindset for us, what they want to accomplish, what they want to do. Guys have stuff to prove this year. You know, last year, unfortunately, got hit with a lot of different injuries and things that happened on the heels of a Super Bowl run the year before. So guys have come into OTAs and going into minicamp with a different focus, and it's pretty cool to be a part of and see how they've been attacking their work.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a very veteran-laden group. I mean, I think the youngest guy in there might have 3 years experience, and then obviously some really high draft picks. I hope Nick's looking good. I know he's recovering. But how's it now? You know, I take a look. You know, Robert Saleh gets hired, comes here to the East Coast to the Jets, and an old playing friend, man, D'Amico Ryans is taking over. How are things feeling with him at the helm? And how's it feel having someone you played with running the show?
It's awesome. Honestly, for me, that was a huge part. To have somebody that I play with, I'm familiar with how he operates and rocks, especially in critical situations. Like, he's a calm guy. Like, he's going to ease the water to allow guys to go out there and focus on their work. But he's been commanded unreal. Like, just like I said, a calm presence, the scheme that he's going to run and bring in is going to allow our guys to go play fast. And guys have been gravitating towards him as well. Like, he's a guy that everybody respects, not only by the way he carries himself, but the fact that he did it in this league for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did it for quite a while. You know, I'll be honest, I listen to the Bay Area radio. I read all the reporters, and obviously a lot of people are saying, you know, we were in that cover 3. And a lot of people are saying, D'Amico ain't just going to stick with that. D'Amico got some aces up his sleeve he's probably going to play. So you don't have to answer this, but, you know, should I expect to see maybe some different things all around from D'Amico's defense?
I think you should expect to see anything.
Woo-hoo.
Being the fact that D'Amico's played in this league,
yes,
and he knows how to think as a linebacker, he knows how to think as a coordinator. He's going to be able to attack different schemes that come in here, and we're going to be right in his pocket doing the same thing he asked us to do. But we got some stuff ready to go.
That is just awesome to hear. All right.
That's music to your ears, right, Curtis?
My ears. All right, one more thing. You know, you're now working as a colleague with Chris Kasurik. Chris Kasurik coached you up in Detroit. Chris Kasurik, highly respected defensive line coach.
Yes.
And I can say I saw it. The day they brought him in there, our defensive line changed from being good to being borderline great. But what's that relationship like now? You went from the player and now you're right next to him. You're the colleague. What's the relationship like with Chris now that, things have changed?
Things have changed from my actual role, my title.
Okay.
But they haven't changed. When I got to Detroit, I was year 9 in. So I was already an old head or a dinosaur or a relic, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But I was a player's coach. So I already understood what I need to do and what everybody else on the defensive line needed to do. And that's part of the reason that Coach Chris was investing in me as a player, because I was able to be a player coach. So it really hasn't changed other than my title. Me being able to go out there and operate and do things to play off of him and get that message across has been the same thing. It's automatic instant credibility with Coach Chris. He played in the league for a couple of years, and he's been a guy that's been able to transform careers and extend them. And I'm living proof of that man's work. Now, I played for him for 2 years and extended my career as well and played some great ball. So the guys see that. They know that. They know that Coach Chris is invested in them. They've seen the way I've carried myself. And Coach Chris doesn't put his name on anybody that isn't about the same thing that he's about and have conviction in this scheme and what we're doing. So it's been an awesome transition for as me being a coach. But as far as Chris and my relationship, it's been the same. If anything, he's pouring even more into me now as a coach in the same way he poured into me as a player. Like he's family.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing that, I want to kind of ask about Chris, because, you talked about, before we jumped on, like that Detroit Lions line, do you see pieces of the Niners line? It's kind of, because that was a really good line with, I remember you mentioned Sue and some other guys, Ziggy Ansah. Do you see this kind of shaping up this year to be like that?
I hope so. So when I first got here, one of the biggest things was getting familiar with the players on our D-line, as well as our defense, but especially the D-line, find out what the strengths and weaknesses are, find out how they meshed and rocked together. And the first film we looked at was film from the Super Bowl run year. And those guys were flying around everywhere, doing everything, playing with great effort, passion for the game, energy. And like I said, last year, it just took a little bit of injury toll. But that 19 year looked exactly how we looked in 14. Like the camaraderie we had in the defensive line. Now you have pretty much all those guys back, and you added a couple more pieces. And like I said, the way these guys have been handling their business going into OTAs and heading into minicamp in a couple weeks has been elite.
Right.
Like these guys are grown men. They know what they want to accomplish. And everybody has something to prove to themselves, and they want to do it with each other.
All right. One more question.
Awesome.
One more question. Sorry.
Talk to him.
All right, man. So John Lynch is the GM, Hall of Famer. You played for Kyle Shanahan with the Redskins when he was the OC there. You were coached by Chris Kasurik, and you played with D'Amico Ryans. How does it make you feel professionally as you're getting into coaching? They picked up that phone, called DTAP, and said, hey, here's the opportunity to coach with a guy you're very familiar with, and this beast group of linemen. Like, how does that make a guy feel as you're getting your coaching career started?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a bittersweet feeling because I had finally got back to Virginia Tech to coach. Like the dream of dreams, like never thought it would happen, and got that opportunity. But I had to thank my mom and dad and my two older brothers for raising me the right way. They always taught me that you treat everybody the right way because you never know where those bridges had to come back around.
Yep.
So I played for Coach Shanahan with the Redskins, with the Washington football team now, in 2013.
Yep.
From the staff from last year that was here with the 49ers, I had played for 12 different coaches between the Redskins, Lions, and the Eagles. So the way that I carried myself, the way I handled my business, the way I came to work with an attention to detail and built the relationships have brought it all the way back to 2021 to my first opportunity to coach in the NFL. And just as small as it is, small of a chance it is for players to get from college to play in the NFL, is like 10 times harder to get in as a coach.
I bet.
And like I said, the way that I was able to create those relationships and the way that I had my business brought me to this opportunity here. So it was an unbelievable experience and feeling to, like I said, to have that phone call with Coach Chris to tell me about the opportunity, to have the phone call from D'Amico, who were former teammates together in Philadelphia, and then for Coach Shanahan to solidify with the opportunity to come out here and coach and get my feet wet coaching and be around this great organization. Like it's been unreal. Like I feel like that the dude in training day with Denzel Washington, like every day I'm learning something. Like it's never a moment where my mind isn't blown.
That's awesome.
To learn new stuff and also to see how the other side of the game at this level.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So I got a question. It's not Niner specific because I'm not quite in the tank like Curtis is there. But I mean, the biggest thing. So you've been Power 5 defensive line coach. Now you're assistant defensive line coach at the NFL level. Recruiting aside, like what's the biggest difference between those two that you've seen so far in like a few months in the NFL?
I will say that the biggest thing is that now you're dealing with grown-ups. Meaning that in college, your main goal is to push these guys from childhood to adulthood. You want to help these guys become better men in every aspect, academics, social skills, with football knowledge, and then get them across the line to get their degree. Whereas now in the NFL, this is now a job. And you have to continue to stress that to these guys, especially the ones that come in. Unfortunately, I don't have to do that this year, but the older guys understand it even more so. Like, NFL means not for long. Like, that is truly a real thing. And I was fortunate and blessed to play longer than the 2.7-year average. But you're stressing this is a job. Like, if you don't get it right,
yeah,
they will find somebody else that will. So every day you need to step in this building. Forget stepping out of bed. You need to get out of bed with a clear-cut focus of what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. Because this is going to benefit you, going to benefit your family, and you're playing a child's game for a king's ransom. So you need to maximize every opportunity you have to play this game and earn a way of life for your family. Whereas in college, these guys still you're still trying to get them out of the high school thing where, like, all right, I can mess up today, I'll still be good tomorrow. It don't work like that in the NFL, especially right now. Like, all these guys, as much as we love them all, they're competing for a spot, competing for opportunity to play in this league. There are only 1,800 jobs. So you got to make your mark every day in everything that you do and be mindful of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the big thing for me, too. Like, when we look at, the difference, like you said, you're dealing with kids coming out of high school that they're not used to that type of grind that
right.
When you're in the NFL, every day counts because the next day isn't promised.
No doubt about it.
Awesome. Well, before we get into more conversation here with Darryl Tapp, we are going to take a quick pause for a quick message from our digital partners.
All right, D-Tap, we're going to get back into it here. We're going to pivot more to more Hokie-specific stuff now that Curtis has had his moment in the sun here. So, this year you're working with Chris Kasurik. Last year you were working with Bill Tierlink, who was close to my heart as a Colts fan. The name Tierlink, right out the gate, I was like, we got Bill coming in? Okay. So, I mean, not many guys get a chance to coach with that level of guys that have done it at the NFL. What was it like to work with Bill last year?
It was good. Honestly, Coach Ham and Coach Fuente and Coach Ham did a great job assembling staff of people that care. Now, with that said, it was a beast last year because you had to deal with so many things. You had to deal with the Rona first and foremost. It was a brand new staff. We never really got the chance to really vibe and click as a complete unit until probably later on in the season. So we'll still learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and what everybody did best. Then we're trying to install a brand new scheme to these guys via Zoom. And we were just learning Zoom ourselves. So you had to try to keep those guys' attention there. So there was so many hurdles we had to get across. But I can tell you that on that defensive side of the ball, that we came to work every day with a clear-cut focus on how to try to get these kids on the same page, believing in the same thing. And you started to see how much better we got towards the latter part of the season. Like, we started playing really good ball. So I got to imagine that with spring ball this year, finally being in the same system, and seeing the pieces come together from a coaching staff and from a player standpoint, that they're going to be even more improved this year and get this thing right back on the way it needs to go.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that about Bill. Love to hear that about the other parts of the defensive staff there. Absolutely. Let's talk about one of the bright spots of last year's team, Amari Barno. Kid comes in, he switches positions, works his way into the 2 deep, and then by season's end, he's one of the standout players on your unit. Can you tell us a little bit more about Amari's transition to defensive end, and at what point last year did you know that he was going to be special at the position?
Well, we already knew that Amari was he's one of Coach Fuente's favorite guys. He hadn't had the success that he wanted or envisioned early on, but he played his tail off on special teams. He was in a linebacker role. So Coach Bill and myself and Coach Ham, we went to Coach Fu like, let's switch positions on this guy. Let's get him at the DN spot because we got to get our best athletes on the field. Like the teams that we're playing in ACC were explosive on the offensive side of the ball, and we have to be able to match that with the same kind of explosion, the same kind of speed on the defensive side of the ball. So Coach Fuente allowed us to entertain pushing Barno to DN. He had a conversation with Barno's mom. Want to make sure everybody was in the loop and everybody felt good about the transition. And then from that point on, Amari and myself and Coach Zach, our GA at that point in time, we spent time with him going over footwork, going over hand placement, learning pass rush stuff. Because that was something that was completely foreign to him, even though he played linebacker. So we had to get to the point where he did that. The Rona knocked some guys out for a couple of weeks and had a couple of injuries, as always happens in football. And next thing you know, Amari's starting games and playing with elite effort. And Amari or Barno is a smart cat. And he understands concepts. He understands what to do. And he's usually a cat that you can tell him once, maybe twice, he got it.
Okay.
So the leaps and bounds that he made last year during the season, really not having an off season to learn this stuff. Like, we would literally learn on the fly every day after practice. So like I said, this year, this opportunity he has, OTA, spring ball, like he could completely take off. And if he's fortunate enough to get to a combine, it's a wrap because he's uber athletic.
Yeah.
So all the cards and all the dominoes are stacked in his favor. And like I said, just continue to progress as far as learning the defense, learning how to be a defensive end, and then learning the fundamentals and techniques he needs to succeed. Now, it could be scary this year.
Can I ask someone follow up on that? When was it like? Was it the first time he practiced at defensive end? Where you like, oh boy?
He's definitely a guy you want coming off the bus first.
Yeah,
I can definitely tell you that.
Oh, he's big and can move. Okay.
Like if he get a couple more sandwiches,
that's
man,
right.
It's gonna be real.
Awesome.
Oh man, that's great. We loved watching Barno progress last year. I mean, that was kind of one of the big highlights that we had of the season. So it's good to hear that transition kind of went like we were talking about there. Yeah. Let's talk about another guy, Jordan Williams. He was a big ad from the portal just before you took the 49er job. He made a point to mention relationships with you and Coach Fuente as to why he ended up coming to the Hokies. What was it like helping recruit a high-profile transfer portal player like Jordan, and like what's the biggest thing that he's going to bring to the table for the Hokies in 2021?
Well, it was cool. Like you're always scouring the portal for guys that can help your team. That's kind of where college football is kind of come to right now. But with him being a guy from the 757, it hit closer to home.
Yeah.
Coach Fuente was already familiar with him. From being in, like, it was between Tech and Clemson before he made his final decision to go to Clemson. So Coach Fuente always wanted Jordan to be a part of the family. With me being a 757 guy, I want all the best guys from that area to come here to have the same experience that I had at Virginia Tech. So it was elite. Like, soon as he was officially in the portal, I was on. Coach Fuente said, "Go get him." I went.
Like, all right.
Get him. And surprisingly we connected. Like it wasn't a sell job. That's not something that I believe in. That's not something that Coach Ham believes in or Coach Fuente. We're gonna tell you the truth. And who better to tell you the truth than a guy like myself that played there, graduated from there in 3.5 years, got the opportunity to play in the league from the exact same place you are. So we were able to connect on that. I was able to connect with his mom and dad on the opportunity that he had at Virginia Tech, and it just everything just fell in place. And I think for him, being that he was at Clemson, he played I think 3 or 4 straight NCAA playoff brackets and won I think 1 or 2 natties. Like he has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of wisdom to give to the younger guys. And when you have a guy like that, it elevates everybody's play, everybody's production. And even as coaches, it elevates you because you want to make sure that you're putting everybody in the right position to accomplish the team goal and accomplish their individual goals as well. So he adds so much to this picture. He could really take off this year. I know that he's been doing very well. Conditioning-wise, went from Colorado's with our winter workouts, went through spring ball. Like, guys respect him and what he's brought to the table. And he has a chance to really make a huge name for himself in the ACC and hopefully put himself in the run to be drafted next year.
Absolutely. And, speaking of the 757, before you –
7.5.
7.5?
Yeah.
High water, 7.57, however you want to call it. Before you approached for the 49ers, you were kind of starting to run the point on the 757 recruiting and Virginia Tech football alumni relations, which one of our guests, Dwight Dick, looks like he's taking that baton from you and starting to run with it on his own right. But what are some of the challenges down in the 7.5 and the alumni fronts today that may not have been there when you were first getting the Tech back in the early 2000s?
Probably the biggest thing is that you have a coach that's only been there for now 6 years. When I came to Tech, Beamer and Coach Foster and Coach Wiles, they already been there for 16 years.
Yeah.
So there's a level of continuity and stability that was established. And it was already running its course where you have a new guy in Coach Fuente that was not Coach Beamer. Everybody that's a college football fan, especially the Tech fans, they understand stuff was done a certain way in Blacksburg. And that's what they were used to for 29 years of Coach Beamer, for 32 years of Coach Foster and Coach Wiles. That's how stuff was done. So it could have been Coach Foster, it could have been Coach Fuente, it could have been Coach Smith or Coach Joe, whoever it was that came in after Coach Beamer, and they would have been in the exact same boat as Coach Fuente's in now. And he's continually to try to lead and do things his way. Still got to pay homage to the way Coach Beamer did stuff, but this is Coach Fuente's program. And I think that's probably been the biggest hurdle that him and the staff that he's continued to put together have always had to overcome. And stuff was done a different way back when I was coming out. Like, we had to make our highlight tapes on VHS. There's probably people on this call don't know what VHS is.
You're probably right.
It was done a certain way. Whereas now, as a college coach, if you tell me about a kid that's out here in California and I'm in Blacksburg, I can be on the phone with him, recruiting him in 30 minutes or less. I done seen his highlight tape. I got his transcript. Like, it's just a different way. So the relationships that were built back then, there was a certain way it was done back then that's not necessarily done now, because now you have a bigger footprint and now you're having to compete with more people. Like, it was unheard of for Notre Dame or USC or Arizona or these schools to come to Virginia to get kids because they didn't know about them. So now you have to deal with this whole explosion of recruiting, and you got to be on it even more to where it seems like, wow, some days y'all be like, wow, I seem like Tech is throwing out offers to everybody or somebody. Like, that's kind of where it is. Like, you have to be on them extremely fast, do your evaluation, and try to get these connections, because every school from across the nation has access to any kid out there.
And 757 ain't the best kept secret that it was back in the 90s and early 2000s.
That's a wrap now.
You mentioned something, and I'll ask you this. You were getting recruited 0102, right? You signed 02.
Yes, sir.
What was the furthest school you got an offer from?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Okay.
Yep. And Kevin Rogers, who was the quarterback coach,
QB coach for Tech. Yeah.
he was the one that recruited me and offered me, and then I didn't hear from him for like a couple months, and then all of a sudden I hear from him again. Now he's at Tech. I'm like, hey, man. But I got interest letters from Ohio State and those places, but it never crossed my mind to go that far away from home. Like, my top 3 was Virginia Tech, University of Maryland, and then University of Florida. And Florida was one of those schools that was kind of unheard of too. But the reason why Florida became a school for me, because my middle school principal, Debbie Stoops, her brother was a D-line coach. Ricky Huntley was a D-line coach at Florida. So when he offered me a Florida, I'm like, I'm going to Florida. But when I went for my official visit, that whole staff, Coach Spurrier took that whole staff and went to the Redskins.
Yep.
So, like I said, it was done a different way. It was all about relationships and people that you knew to get in those situations where the game has changed now as far as recruiting.
That's wild, man, because if we do think about it, I mean, we're roughly all the same age. I'm 37. I know y'all are in y'all's 30s as well, but it has changed. When there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram. We couldn't live stream this back in the day.
Not at all.
It's instant connections. And, you know, we kind of sit here and say, well, why can't we do as good down there? And it's like, because everybody knows about down there.
Yeah.
Everybody. And everybody's making the offers. And now, you know, you've got programs that have private jets that coaches can jump on and it's
crazy still.
How it's changed, but I digress about that. All right, so next thing I want to ask you about, sort of a mindset. You know, you mentioned it earlier. COVID created a lot of really difficult things in terms of installing and adjusting elements of defense in 2020. I mean, y'all didn't have a spring. Y'all, the way that fall camp was, y'all had fall camp and then a gigantic break before the first game.
No doubt.
And you kind of mentioned it earlier, but go into it a little deeper with the benefits of a full off season. What aspects of the defense can we as fans and somebody like Brian who played the game, what are we going to see different this year for 2021 from J. Gaines D?
I think just consistency. Like last year, it was only so much stuff we could do because from week to week, you were without 10 to 20 players.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When we played UNC, we were starting a walk-on safety.
Yep.
Now Matheny played his butt off, but the athletic disparity was so wide that by the end of the game, there was nothing that he could do. I mean, he went against two running backs that were drafted in the first 3 rounds this year. Like there was nothing that he could really do. So Diablo missed a lot of games. He's a 3rd-round pick. So when you have Caleb Fairley, the 1st-round pick, he didn't get to play the whole season. So it was a lot of things that COVID presented to us, and we was really on our heels just trying to fight back and try to scheme up stuff to go against teams that are going the same way. It was a league-wide or a nationwide thing everybody had to deal with. But just for us, like it was extremely tough. Because on top of we're installing a brand new system with brand new coaches. Like our first 3 games, we didn't have a coordinator. Like you see what I'm saying? It was so many things that happened that it was the perfect storm of bad stuff.
Yeah, I was always comparing it with Kurt. I was like, you know, everybody's got one hand behind their back this year, but it feels like if you're installing a new defense, you got both of them behind your back.
It's a wrap.
All right, well, we're going to turn back time a little bit. Because we got to ask you some questions about your time at Tech. You know, Brian and I, his first game was Rutgers 2002. You played. My first game was UCF opening weekend 2003. You played. So literally, as our first trips to Lane Stadium, Darryl Tapp was playing football on that ground. But the Hokie lore, and when we met you a few years ago at spring game, we even talked about it. Once you got the lunch pail,
yes, sir,
you never let it go until you graduated, and then Bud had to literally get another lunch pail because you took it with you, correct?
I did. Walked across the graduation stage with it. I agree with it.
But the whole thing you hear about the stories, and you hear it from Bud and other players, is you literally outworked everybody on the team to get that. But when you showed up in 2002, you're a freshman. Was there anybody on that team in 2002 that helped drive you to be that type of player? And you play with some good ones, man. I can think. I know Jake Grove was on that team. Who else we missing, Brian?
Levy, yeah.
But was there one guy, like, when you got there and you saw them on that field, practice field, and the game, where you were like, that's what I'm going
for? Honestly, yes and no.
Okay.
First and foremost, I'm a extremely family-oriented guy. So my heroes is my mom and dad and my 2 older brothers. That's the way I was raised. Like if stuff wasn't done right, I would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
They told me to ride my bike from home to practice, partly because mom was running everywhere else, doing her stuff to support the family, her and dad, and they had no other way. So get on your bike and get to going. And then two, like playing sports growing up was a privilege that could be revoked quite easily if your grades and chores weren't up to par. Now, once I got to Tech, I was going to Tech with a bunch of guys from Deep Creek, like guys that I looked up to. They were my teammates: Vegas Robinson, James Anderson, D'Angelo Hall, and I was going with guys from Tech, from Deep Creek to Tech, Josh Hyman. All these guys, we were all together, so we always pushed each other growing up as kids. Like that's what we wanted to do. We had a clear-cut vision of what we wanted to accomplish once we got to Tech. Now, once I personally got to Tech, the D-line room was a veteran-laden group. I think our team was a veteran-laden team where the coaches really had to do very little to get us going.
Okay.
If I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, Lamar Cobb, Coles Colas, Nathaniel Ladivi, Jim Davis, Tim Sandage, like all these guys would put their hands on me to make sure I was going the right way. So you learn real quick that you need to handle your business and fall in line with what we're trying to accomplish, and you'll be the best player that you can be. And of course, Coach Wiles, he had a reputation for helping guys to reach levels that they haven't seen. So for me, it was just the perfect storm of stuff being the way I was raised, what I envisioned, what I wanted to do with the teammates that I had played with. And like I said, walking into a veteran-laden team kind of created the person that I became once I got to Tech.
Awesome. Yeah. It's nice having guys that you're familiar with, that you got that comfort level with, that you know are going to push you and tell you when you're not, carrying the weight.
No doubt.
And that's always good to have. I had some teammates like that. I played little ball at Hammond Sydney. I played, high school ball. It's always good having boys that you can trust, that know that they'll call you out when you're not doing the right thing.
No doubt about it.
So you go ahead, Curtis. I'll let you finish what you got.
I was going to ask, was there anybody ever on the O-line that either you were like, oh, this is going to be the dog fight and I'm going to have fun? Like, do you remember one guy from anybody?
Jeff King.
Who's that?
Jeff King.
Oh, the tight end. Really?
Okay.
What assistant scout, assistant GM for the Bears now? Yeah, Jeff King. I knew every day I had to bring my heart and my
Man, I played against him in high school. He was a punter in Pulaski too. That was crazy.
Technically sound, strong, like unassuming, but he'll put his hands on you.
Oh man!
Awesome to hear. I mean, that's even better to hear about, because you think about King and his work ethic, because he's busted his butt to get. I mean,
right?
He's borderline. I think if Carolina doesn't have a good season, I think Jeff King might get that GM job down there.
Yeah.
And Brian, of course, you had to play against him up at Pulaski. It's funny again. It's the connections, man. It's
no doubt.
It's wild. So we're gonna be straight up.
Okay.
2004 team. It was picked to finish in the bottom half of the ACC. And fools. 100%
fools.
But that ain't how it went down. And obviously, Miami game, me and the man comes over to my apartment at Longwood, 1:00 kick. We cracking beers. We're watching that game, screaming at the TV for you guys. That season holds a very special place for us. I think probably because Brian was at Sydney, I was at Longwood. We got to watch some games together when he wasn't playing, or had one game early. It just holds a very special place in our heart. B. Rand's brother was Sigla's RA. So,
yeah. Brandon.
And but what was so different about that year? Because it was something special back in 2004.
So I think it was a sign of it was we took it as a disrespect and we took it as a challenge. We were just leaving the Big East, had finished the year horribly. Then we lost like 3 out of the last 4 games that year. If we won those games, we win the Big East. And then we got an opportunity to go into the ACC. And, of course, everybody that knows, like, it was a whole ordeal to get us into the ACC and the whole nine. They were trying to leave us out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way the powers that be set up the ACC is they set it up because they wanted Miami and Florida State to play in the championship. No, they put them in different brackets so they can set it up. But they put us and UVA in the same bracket. Like, okay, this wasn't done with that. They were just trying to get more teams in here so they could have it. So we took it as a sign of disrespect. And we came out the gate. We knew we had USC coming out the gate. So our focus was streamlined. The guys that were coming in age, becoming the juniors, we were trying to take the team over. That was our total mindset for the all season, going into training camp, and we caught fire and believed in one another. Like, you still can't tell me to this day that, and I hate to blame anything on the refs, but the refs affected the USC game.
Damn right, Josh Hyman did not call.
It affected the game, and I still get a low for Tufu and Mike Patterson and Lawrence Jackson hell about it from USC. Like, you guys were getting destroyed. All right. So then we got into ACC play. I think Duke was the first game.
I think so.
And it was on. Like, from that point on, we just went to work. We caught up a tough one to NC State at home.
Yep.
And then we coughed up one thing later.
No, y'all didn't cough up any.
No, it was the bowl game. It was the bowl game.
Yeah, the bowl game
was a war.
Right. And we were just a clear, focused team of what we wanted to accomplish. And I think that the name of the game was changing. Like, the Big East was a run dominant league. So we had a bunch of guys that kind of played that system. And those guys are kind of graduating and moving out. And as we were moving to the ACC, that's when more athletic players that we had were kind of coming into age. And we just kind of took off. I don't think that they were ready for the type of physicality that we had. The way Coach Gentry got us prepared to play each and every season, but especially that season, to make our first impression what it was, the mindset that we had to go out there and let them know that we're not no cakewalk. That showed on Saturdays, and we did our thing. It was exciting to be a part of, just seeing that the rejuvenation of Hokie football.
Yeah.
The attention to detail that we had. That was a fun time, man. A lot of lifelong bonds, relationships made.
It was nice to kind of put a stamp on the ACC, saying, "Hey, we're here. We're here. We about to run the rest of. We about to run the rest of this decade."
No.
All right, so I'm gonna pivot a little bit here to somebody that's near and dear to pretty much every Hokie fan's hearts, Bud Foster.
Man.
Obviously Hokie legend, best to do it in my opinion.
No doubt.
What are some of the lessons or habits that you learned from Bud during your time in Blacksburg, and that you kind of still carry today, or still kind of put those to action today?
The intensity for the game, and as far as being consistent in the way he carried himself. You couldn't tell if Coach Foster was pissed, happy, sad. Like, he was always the same intent guy. Intensity. And you got to see his passion and love for the game through that. And it wasn't just on the football field. Like, he cares about you as an individual person. Like, Coach Foster, still to this day, will still call and text me just to check in on me and see what's going on. Coach Beamer does the same thing. Coach Steinspring, who was my recruiting coach and O-line coach at that point in time, he still does the same thing. Like, that's the way those guys were, and that's all we knew. So that's the same way I try to carry myself when I was in the collegiate level, and even now at this level, like, trying to create a bond with each individual player. Because I still say it, and I'll say it until the day I retire. Like, if you show that you can help a player and you genuinely care about the player, you could tell a player that the sky's green. And because of that much love and respect he has for you and the way you're pouring into him, he'll be like, you know what, Coach Tapp, it is green. What we doing now? You got to make those relationships, and you got to invest in people so they know that you have the same goal that they want to accomplish, and you want to try to help them get there. That's something that Coach Foster always taught and always brought to us. And probably the coolest thing, or coolest moment with Coach Foster was that NC State game. Like, we had played our tails off. We got the ball back to the offense, but their defense was something unreal that year. I think they had like four first-round picks on their D-line. 3 of them came out with me. But two of them came out with me, and 2 of them came out like the year after.
Mm-hmm.
But we did everything we needed to do, and we put the ball back in the offense's hand and let them work. He was like, he brought the whole defense up and said, look, I appreciate everything that y'all boys did today. And that's something that's always understood. But for them in that moment, while the game was still going on, they're driving to pull us up and let us know, like, that means everything. because we know that we're just not a commodity. Like they truly cared about us and what we're trying to accomplish and do. Like that was pretty special. I still remember.
That's awesome to hear. And like I said, so many Hokie fans, like you hear stories about just how much you could tell that Bud cares about you, cares about the game, and
No
just
doubt.
put everything into the game when he showed up to work every day. So that's awesome to hear. We're gonna pivot a little bit here to some more, I'll call them fun questions. Not so much Hokie related, not NFL related. I'm gonna start out with this one because I'm the movie guy.
Okay.
Curtis likes movies, but I'm the big movie head here.
Okay.
Everybody has this like it's a bad movie. Everybody knows it's a bad movie, but you love it, and every time it's on, you're gonna watch it. What's that movie for you?
Wow. I'm probably gonna go I Spy with Eddie Murphy.
There we go. There we go. You know, Eddie Murphy, even when the movie's bad, it's still good because it's got Eddie Murphy in it.
No doubt.
Eddie's still good. I mean, everybody's watched Beverly Hills Cop 3. It ain't the original or the second, but it's still good because Eddie can still carry a movie, man.
I literally have it downloaded on my iPad right now. Not gonna lie to you.
Everybody trashed Haunted Mansion, but I enjoyed myself.
You can't beat it, man. You cannot
That's
beat it.
right.
All right, so I'm gonna go turn. This is kind of a question, your personality, but also what happened back in the day. You know, in the locker room, what were those 3 songs that were gonna get played to get you guys ready? And in no particular order.
At Virginia
At
Tech.
Virginia Tech. So this is our heyday, early 2000s.
What are the 3 go-tos?
It probably been some form of DMX.
Rest in
Martin
peace.
Ellis off that album.
Rest in peace. Something
I
like
remember-
this. Hold on, just listen.
There it is. What? Come on.
There we go. There we go.
That's enough before they like kill our stream because we got we hyped.
We throw 10 seconds in there. We're good.
What's another one? 'Cause DMX definitely. I see that.
We went to Miami to play them for the pseudo ACC championship.
Yep.
Ludacris came out,
Ooh, buddy.
coming for the top spot.
Oh, hold on. Where is it?
Yep.
I know what it is. I'll look it up too in case I ain't got it.
I listened to it the whole weekend.
Here it is.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Back again. That's right. Luda. Elvis gets meaner and meaner each time, baby.
There we go.
Feeling real good. What up,
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
They don't slip up. Coming for that number 1 spot.
Just 2 seconds. All right. That number 1 spot, that's awesome, especially to hear you guys were jamming that, heading down to Coral Gables in the old Orange Bowl. What is that?
Yeah, man.
Because that was the only championship game ever played in the Orange Bowl, and y'all took it from them, baby.
Worked them out.
Yes. All right, one more. One more banger from the early 2000s that was in the Hokies locker room.
It probably would have been one of the Jay-Z songs. That would have been A Gift and a Curse, that album when it came out.
Gift and the Curse. Okay. That sounds about right.
I think it was Gift and a Curse. Yeah, but that was probably the top 3.
Okay.
Like that, and that will still. That's when the iPod that first dropped. That's the brick.
The big boy. The big boy.
Yeah, I had to have a CD book and some batteries that first year. And that iPod dropped. It's a game changer.
That's right. Oh, I could just carry that one device? Yeah. This is way better.
But there, I mean, like for real, like your time. I mean, you're an All-American at Tech. You know, we watched your career from the day you got there until the day you retired, and now it's fun for us just following you. You know, your career in coaching because you know, obviously, we were talking about it right before we got on. You got that bug You went to Tampa Bay, wife and kids living in New Orleans. You come back, they basically say, "Hey, you're hired.
Yeah,
you're a coach."
like,
And you should have bitched it.
all right.
So, I mean, and I see nothing, in my opinion, of knowing the individual you are. I see nothing but good things ahead. Hopefully I see a Super Bowl ring the next time we talk, maybe.
No doubt.
Because, then that would be sweet.
I'm hoping you get it for you, but I would like it to go another way. But if you ended up getting it, I would feel like that's number 2 for me. So that's all good.
All right, folks. Well, you guys are being shy out there tonight. This is Darryl Tapp. Darryl Tapp is not shy. Brian Siegler and Curtis Wilson are not shy guys. We it was funny. Darryl, again, we really appreciate this. We reached out to you in February and asked, would you like to come on? And you were straight up with us. You said, give me a few months. You were like, in a few months, and I got to make this move and everything. We give it a few months, we hit you. You hit us back and basically say, I'll do it. Thank you for not saying like 3 o'clock. It made me choose between my son's baseball. I'm sleeping on my neighbor's couch tonight if that happened, but we really appreciate that, man.
No, that is my pleasure, man. Like anytime I can help out home, I'm all for it. Like that's probably my biggest thing. Like the people that have poured into me, supported me, the fan or people that I've known have all helped me be the person I am today. So I literally bust myself to make my mom and dad, my older brothers, my wife, my kids proud, and then everybody that supported me along the way. Like that's my biggest thing. Like I don't ever want to let anybody down because of bad mood or anything like that. Like I always want to make sure you guys feel wanted and appreciated for everything you did to help me.
And we really appreciate you, and you definitely out there showing the best of what Hokie Nation is all about. So we really appreciate that too.
You really are, man. Well, folks, that is going to wrap up this live stream of the Boundary Corner podcast. Along with our guest, Darryl Tapp, I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Visit our website at boundarycornerbt.com to listen to all our episodes. While you're there, do not forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and your favorite podcast course, including Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. And if you guys go back and listen to last spring, there is a Hokie Mount Rushmore. The gentleman that joined us here tonight was on that Hokie Mount Rushmore. And also, if you're looking to join the Hokie Club and help achieve Reach for Excellence campaign, please visit boundarycornerbt.com/giving to get started. We're definitely supporting the school with that. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long play us out. Catch his music on Spotify and Apple Music. We thank you all for listening and watching tonight. And as always, let's go!
Hokies!